Anyhow, you answered, which I was very impressed by.
So let me see if I got this straight.
I told her you wouldn't answer, but you did.
Yeah,
Right, so you found the cell phone on the website and you called it, being somewhat skeptical that I would pick up.
Very skeptical.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did.
Yes,
You did answer, and you were very
Could you
friendly.
say that again? Now, how much did I pay you to say that? No.
Yeah. And, you know, right off the bat, I found myself, when I was talking to you, I found myself making a lot of excuses that, you know, like, well, I don't know if my husband is 100 pounds overweight. Maybe he's right at 100 pounds overweight. He doesn't have any other health conditions. He has high cholesterol. This is his age. I'm not sure if this is the right thing for him. And I found you coming back, talking to me about his risk factors, how his weight would impact his joints, his cardiovascular health, different things, and making me go back in and reanalyze again some of the reasons that, you know, he had wanted to do this and some of the reasons that maybe I would support him in doing it. And so we decided to go with MGB, and then he, being a man, wanted to have the best.
But you couldn't, so you're here, huh?
Yeah.
She said Orlando. I said no. Good Las Vegas.
So we're going to go to Vegas. So he wanted you to do his surgery, and so we.
I think, can I interrupt? I apologize. You were talking along, and I was listening. You went to the Roux-en-Y doctor in Pensacola, and then I didn't hear next what happened. You were not like real attracted to that choice, or?
When we looked at a lot of things, cost, you know, because we're paying out of pocket for this.
Right.
When we looked at cost, recovery time, amount of time in the hospital, and then complications like the Roux-stasis syndrome and, you know, the connections. In comparing the two, MGB just kept coming out ahead with us.
And then yesterday you sat through clinic.
Yes.
And you got to see a lot of people who've been through it, and then we saw some post-op patients as well. I kind of feel like that kind of confirms what we say, which is we had some patients who were a few days post-op, and we had Amber and no, the lady who was mopping and doing her laundry.
Darcy.
Darcy, right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's a pretty impressive commentary about the surgery, in that here are patients within days of surgery, and she said she got tired, I think, if I remember, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think she'd done laundry and dishes and what else, and I mean, I get tired doing that. I haven't had surgery.
Shopping and everything.
And then I think we heard, you know, one of our patients from Arizona, he was commenting on how he had a friend who had a Roux-en-Y who called him, and he was out on the pontoon boat and things like that. So, on the other hand, the surgery's not perfect. It's not completely pain-free, because Bill, who was sitting here, he had the shoulder pain that was bothering him. So I think that gives you a spectrum. If you happen to have some aches and pains post-operatively, I hope that it won't frighten you, but instead that, you know, you can have some aches and pains after surgery. A lot of people, though, have very little. And so our hopes are for you today that it's going to be a very painless process. But if you do have some aches and pains, I think we heard from our long-term patients that when they look back on the couple of days of aches and pains, that it's something that they don't regret doing and they're pleased with. And certainly not kind of like your father's story with the band, with lots of nausea and vomiting and IVs and things like that. So
Your long-term patients that came in yesterday was really it was the icing on the cake for both of us. Because walking into the room yesterday, we were both still nervous, and I would say not 100%. We thought we were, but then after you fly out here and you get in the room, my mind was racing. And I could tell by the look on his face that his mind was racing.
So is that true? You were pretty...
Yep, I was nervous.
Yeah.
After I got here yesterday morning, I was very nervous that I was not doing the right thing. And then once you started talking and everybody, it was...
And that's, if you think about it, we actually had quite a long clinic yesterday, and we planned for a while this morning as well, because of the difficulty that your situation represents. What that means is, we, in a perfect world, would have met each other and spent days and multiple visits getting to know one another before you had to make your decision. And here, you had to do everything from far away, and to make it convenient so you don't have to fly out here multiple times, we've compressed everything.
Right.
Well, we feel kind of badly about that, and one of the things we want to do is take time this morning, take time yesterday, so that we get to talk with one another. You get to spend time with us as much as we can on the couple of days that we have, so you can feel our confirmation that we want to be available for you. That forever afterwards, that's one cell phone call that you made is one that we are going to commit to be available to you forever, at least until I shuffle off. But we also, I think, heard, just to kind of follow up on that, we heard a really interesting case yesterday, and we put this one on the web, of a lady who had a complication as well. Did you have any comments or how you felt about that experience and listening? I mean, there are complications that can happen after the surgery.
I was nervous about it, but when it was fixed so easily, that made me feel quite a bit better. So,
and I think the important thing I'd like to emphasize is she called me pretty early after it happened. I will tell you that a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from one of my patients from Colorado, and I had operated on her and her husband 4 years ago. Okay. 3 months ago, she started having trouble with nausea and trouble swallowing and things like that, and she didn't call. So it got worse and worse until she had to go into the hospital, and they had found she had a lot of swelling, and one of the doctors said, you need emergency surgery because it's all closed up and all kinds of scary stuff. And she called me, and I said, do you remember the manual? She goes, yes. Do you remember the biggest fear we have? She said, yes. And I said, what was it? She said, ulcer. And I said, you probably got an ulcer with swelling, and we need to give you some anti-ulcer medicine. She goes, oh. And I said, in a perfect world, you would have called me 2 months ago. She goes, I'm sorry. And so we want to emphasize this morning that we're going to be on that one phone call you had before. Don't forget about us in the future. We're a good resource for you. And that phone number is always available. And most people are pretty darn nice about it. They don't abuse that privilege. But occasionally we'll have some funny phone calls, like a lady called me and said, you know, I've got a runny nose and a fever, and the kids have a cold, and I was wondering what you think I should do. And I said, well, you know, I guess it sounds like a cold, don't you think? She goes, yes. And she said, what do you think I should do? I said, I'm not really up on that. I mean, isn't it just chicken noodle soup and Benadryl? Or she goes, yeah. I said, what does your medical doctor say about it? She says, well, I didn't want to bother him. I said, oh, okay. Well. I said, I'm happy to give you advice, but there are things that I don't know about, and those things, you know, I hope I'll be honest and tell you I don't know the answer to. But certainly anything that's related or potentially related to us, always call.
Well, if I throw up, I'll be calling.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Good. Any other questions that you all had this morning when you came in? Any other things that were left out or that we ought to go over or discuss? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you go.